21st of November, Rabbi Furst, Pierke, Avos.
Hey, Mayor, how are you doing?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Roy.
Good morning.
Morning, Roy.
Good morning. Good morning, Rabbi Furst.
Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Eliezer Tzvi. Good morning, Luke. Good morning, Mayor, also good morning. Sure talk to everyone. How's everyone today?
I called to say there.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay. Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Samanapshi here, Yerushalayim Kirei Zoom. This is our first year in the morning. We're, I think maybe we can finish up today. We have a couple of more terutzim to our general question. Why don't we keep 9 days of Hanukkah, especially in Chutz La'aretz, just as they keep 2 days Yom Tov for Goliath? So why should Hanukkah, and for that matter, the question is asking about Purim. Why should Hanukkah be Purim be any worse than the second day Yom Tov of Pesach, Shavuos, or Pesach, Shavuos or Pesach? Now the question has been asked by the Rishonim, and put on the screen. We're going to have the teretz. I think we'll begin with the teretz of the pre-Chodesh. Yes, pre-Chodesh right there. Pre-Chodesh, there's two terutzim. You'll see. I'll put it out for you right on the screen. Right with little red borders. And yeah, would like to read a bit today?
I do.
Okay, Lou, you can bring it. Pre-Chodesh. It says right there.
Okay. Upri Chadash, Tiratz, Od, Base, Terutzim. The Pri Chadash, he gave two answers.
Two other answers. Two other answers.
So the Chain Osim, I don't know this abbreviation.
The Chutz La'aretz.
Chutz La'aretz.
that they do in what they do in Chutz La'aretz. Rak Chet Yamim, only 8 days. Today, the Remes Gam Chet Yemei Mila. It is a hint also to the 8 days of circumcision.
Right. The fact that the Bris Milah takes place on the 8th day, and Hanukkah being 8 days, so Hanukkah being 8 days symbolizes and indicates the connection between Hanukkah, 8 days Hanukkah and 8 days of Bris Milah, right?
Shiratzu Levatel. Shiratzu is to run.
That they want that would also be close, but here Ratzah from Ratzon, they wish to, their intention. The Greeks, right? The Greek invaders in the they part of their policy was to mevatael us, stop us from doing bris milah. That was part of their policy. So since we were victorious over them, Hashem made nisans for us, and we were victorious over their intention to destroy the mitzvah of bris milah. So part of the commemoration of Hanukah is specifically 8 days, because the 8 days of bris milah they chose and wanted to, their intention was to destroy that. And with Hashem's miracles, we became entrenched in keeping our mitzvah of bris milah. Okay.
V'od shahachi adif tafeh, and also more so, or additionally, that here it's already beautiful.
It's much better. It's more advantageous. It's more advantageous. It's more advantageous.
It's more advantageous. Kidei sheyid'u sheyodo bima diuk kama haya hanes. In order that it should be known,
B'diuk means exactly.
Exactly how much was the miracle.
Right.
Lo pechos velo yoter, not less and not more.
Right. So fixing Hanukah at exactly 8 days, right, was very beneficial. It was very beneficial to fix Hanukah being specifically 8 days, right, because we wanted to make known exactly how long the nace was.
And what is the abbreviation? Achad?
So ad kan l'shana, the end quote. Ad kan devorov. Ad kan up till here, devorov, his words, meaning basically unquote.
I see. Thank you.
Excuse me. How 8 days exactly emphasizes the nace? I don't see that.
Just as the Hashmonoim, when they found the Pak Shemen with the Chasim of the Kohen Gadol there in the base of Migdash, and they purified the Heichel, and they lit the menorah. So Kadosh Baruch Hu did the nace for exactly 8 days, right? We'll talk about this. There's a side point to mention about this, but just to make the basic, give a basic explanation. So the miracle lasted for 8 days exactly. So if we would keep 9 days in Chutz La'aretz, that would be a little bit incongruous with the actual nace that took place, because we want to commemorate, again, the whole point of Hanukkah is Presumi Nisa. We want to publicize the miracle. So we're publicizing an 8-day miracle. It would be improper to publicize an 8-day miracle for 9 days. So therefore, it's much more advantageous to publicize it only for the exact 8 days, for as long as the miracle had originally lasted.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, thank you.
V'yitakain lomar the perush tirutzo. I'm sorry, charon. What is yitakain?
It's possible. It's possible.
It's possible to say that the explanation of the answer is there's another explanation for the answer.
Well, Yitake Lomer beferish teritzo ha'achron. It's possible to say in explaining. It's possible to say in explaining the last teretz, meaning the last teretz, which it was existed only and specifically 8 days, right? So therefore, we want to publicize the miracle for those specific 8 days, even in Chutzlaretz where normally you would keep an extra day, but it's specifically 8 days. So he wants to explain it a little bit. He wants to explain that teretz a little bit more.
Shaharei tikno behadlik neros Hanukah mehadron. That behold, we fix the lighting of the candles of Hanukkah for beautification.
There's a special emphasis on Hanukkah of fulfilling the mitzvah of the lighting menorah in a way which we call mehadrin, which is in the best possible way to do it. So again, the basic halacha is all you have to do is light one ner, one candle each night, right? So on the first night, a week from today, right, you'd light one night. A week from tomorrow, you light one candle. A week from 2 days from now, you'd light one candle. Each and every day of Hanukkah, the halacha calls for only one candle each night. However, min mahadrin, we add an extra light to each and every previous candle that we lit. So, for example, the first night you light one candle, and the second night you light 2 candles, right? And then the third candle a night you light 3 candles on all the way until you get to 8, right? This actually, maybe we'll review this. Let's finish this paragraph, and then maybe we'll review what we saw previously. There was a very idea to be made in the Shulchan Aruch, which follows up with this explanation as well. So that's the Mahadran. The Mahadran is, he's explaining that it's the 8 days is going to be a very beneficial way of keeping Hanukkah because we're doing it in keeping with the mitzvah of doing it Mahadran. He'll explain a little bit more.
The im kain hare im yid liku b'yom hasheni. If so, or therefore, behold, with his lighting on the second day, menorah echad im ner echad. One menorah with one candle, menorah shnia im shnei neros, and a second menorah with 2 candles. Lo yad'o eza yom hayom. He wouldn't know what day is today. Ulechein lo tiknu sveka dioma, and therefore it would not be a what is tiknu?
Wasn't established. Therefore, it wasn't established sveka dioma. It wasn't, meaning Chazal, when they instituted Hanukkah, they didn't build into the holiday of Hanukkah keeping it 9 days because that would have been confusing and it would be self-defeating because the whole point of Hanukkah is we're trying to emphasize the nace and doing it mahadrin, and therefore on the first night, as we said, you light 1 candle, and the second night you light 2 candles. But if you would have a din, if you had the halacha that you had to light because of Sveikat Yoma, because you don't know what day it is, so what would it be? You'd be forced to light, on the first night, wouldn't be a problem. The first night, you'd light 1 candle with 1 menorah. But then the second day, what are you going to do now? it's very similar to the, if you remember in Chutz La'aretz, when you read the Korbanos for the Musaf of Chol HaMoed Sukkos, right? You read if it's going to be, for example, Yom Shlishi, or you're going to read for Yom Revi for the third or the fourth day. So you put both in. So in the Musaf of Chol HaMoed Sukkos, you see there in the Machzorim, you see that you're supposed to add one line for the, say it's the third day of Sukkot, and you put in an additional statement that maybe it's the fourth day of Sukkot, because you don't know. So therefore, because you're reflecting the situation as people experienced it in Chutz La'aretz, that they didn't know exactly what was being done in the Beis Hamikdash when we had the Beis Hamikdash, because they lived too far away and they didn't get messengers there to tell them when there was the Rosh Chodesh. So they had to keep second day Yom Tov Shagalias. But Hanukah, they never instituted that. And one of the reasons is, as he's explaining now, is because there was an overriding mitzvah which they decided to give precedence to of Mahadrin. So by Mahadrin, you're lighting each and every night one extra candle. So on the first night, as I said, no problem. One candle, no problem. The second night, now what are you going to do? Today is either the second day or maybe it's the first day. You don't know. So one menorah you have to have that has one candle because maybe it's the first day. And on the doubt that you have that maybe it's the second day, you have to have another menorah that has two candles burning, right? So now you're really in doubt as to what day it is of Hanukah. And you're doing that by lighting the menorah. And that lighting of the menorah is reflecting your doubt as to what day it truly is. And that would interfere with keeping the halacha of Mahadrin. Because Mahadrin is that you want to show that the miracle is increasing day after day, right? But now you don't know which day it is. So in order to have the Persumi Nisa of having Hanukah being publicized that this was the miracle Hashem did, the first day, the oil burned, and then the second day, the oil burned. So by a progression of one day to the second day to third day with one candle, two candles, three candles, you get to see that. But if you had two separate menorahs with a conflict of which day it is expressed with the lighting of different neros for different days, it would become too confusing and you wouldn't achieve your purpose of being Mahadrin, to show the progression of the miracle that HaKadosh Baruch was doing in a proper way that would publicize it in a fashion that people could clearly see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's miracles being done one day after the next. So therefore, l'chein lo tiknu sveika diyoma. Therefore, they did not establish the observance of Hanukah lighting the menorah because of a yoma desaf, the sveika diyoma, without the day. And we said, okay, it's true, we don't know which day it really is, but nevertheless, you're going to just keep one menorah and simply light one candle progressively, one into the next day, till you get to 8 days total.
Ki Chazal Ratzu Shehiyeh Hakar B'Kol Yom. Because the sages wanted that there should be, what is Hakar?
A hecker, a recognition,
Right. You wanted to make it each day distinct.
distinct.
In each day should have should be distinct. Eza Yom Hayom, each day Miyamei Hanukah, each day from the days of Hanukah.
So therefore, to make sure they were showing it clearly, the Persumi Nisa of showing each day distinctly which day it is necessary, even though in truth you may have a Sveika Diyoma, you may be in doubt Right? You may be in doubt as to what day it is. Nevertheless, because of the distinction we wanted to create for each and every day of Hanukkah, therefore we preserve that more than worrying about the suffix of the day. So
Okay.
now he brings down the Tori Evan. The Tori Evan brings down a similar. Similarly, he's dealing with the question also, as we actually saw part of this. We saw this Tori Evan, but he's reviewing it. Let's see it again.
V'torei Evan, Kasav, Shegam b'Chanukah, Upurim, Divrei Sofrim Haim. It's written that also on Hanukkah and Purim, in the words of the Sofri, the sages.
The Hanukkah and Purim are from the sages.
Rabbanan.
Yeah, they're abundance.
That's a phrase. Divrei Sofrim. Divrei Sofrim is another phrase for the Rabbanan.
Okay, so it's written also that Hanukkah and Purim are rabbinic. Nami Yechamiro la'asos tet yemei Chanukah. Also, they were strict to make it 9 days.
Right. That therefore, Nami Yachmir, you should be machmir to make it 9 days of Hanukkah and 2 days of Purim because of the suffix.
Ubet Yemei Purim misafik. Shema Ivaru O Chisaru. Perhaps it will
This
be
is a
more or
reference
less.
to the month. Right. This is a reference to the previous month. Perhaps by Hanukkah, right? Perhaps the Mar Cheshbon was Hebrew. It was longer, or Iksar was lacking, or by Purim, right? Shvat was Ibor. It was longer, or was Kesser shortened. The month previous, you didn't know. So the Torah Evan's going back he's explaining it according to the time when we had the Beis Hamikdash, and they in fact then at that time they did in fact, according to the Torah Evan, keep 9 days in those places where it was a doubt, because they didn't know Shema Yibru, Shema Yichsa. They didn't know when the month was declared.
I don't get the reason that he mentions that it's rabbinic.
It says the word shagam, right? The word shagam, gam in this word it means like even though, meaning he says because normally the general rule, we already discussed this. The general rule is when it comes to a suffix or a bun, you always usually say lakula, right? Usually say lakula, and he's going to explain why not. His question is as follows: normally we say suffix the bun in lakula, right? But we see by Hanukkah and Purim that was not the case, right? Because we see that the Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah says that they sent out shluchim for Hanukkah and for Purim. And therefore, it would follow that in any place that the shluchim would not be able to get to, they would have to keep an extra day from suffix. Right?
Right.
But the question is, why don't we say suffix derban in the kula? So he's answering that. So he's saying like this, right? Shagam, that even though Hanukkah and Purim are b'divrei sofrim, which meant they're rabbinic, and it's a suffix derbanan, and we should say the kula. Nami yachmiru, they also were nevertheless machmir to make 9 days of Hanukkah and 2 days of Purim. Miss suffix from a suffix. Because why? What was the maybe the previous month was Ibur Chasser. You didn't know, so you didn't know until you knew definitively when and what the previous month was. You couldn't like declare the new month, and since you wouldn't know the date of the new month's declaration, you have to keep 9 days Hanukkah B'Safek and 2 days Purim from. Oh, and he says here, "Velo Shayek." This is the question he's coming to answer with this next sentence. Velo Shayek. It's not possible. It's not relevant or possible here.
Velo Shayech Khan. It's not possible here. Lomar Sveka, to say that it's a doubt. De Rabbanan lahakel, to say Sveka de Rabbanan lahakel, to say that in the case of a doubt of rabbinic law, we are lenient. De amai nakil behahu yom yoma yoter. That why what is nakil?
Why should be make? Why should be lenient? Well, why should it be lenient?
Why should be lenient in this additional day? Me'idan Yoma. What's Me'idan?
The Idah,
Others.
From the other day, meaning the situations like this. On Hanukkah, for example, you have Hanukkah beginning on the 25th of Kislev. So what's the situation? The situation is maybe today is the 25th of Kislev, maybe it's not. Maybe it's really the 24th. Okay, so you don't know if it's the 25th or not. So we're going to be Makel, right? What does it tell you being Makel? Subject to Rabban in the cooler. So you don't know if it's 25th or not. So what are we going to say? We're going to say, we don't know if it's really the 25th. So we're not going to light Hanukkah today. I'm not going to light Hanukkah today. Right?
Right.
And let's jump to the end of Hanukkah. So it's now the 8th of Hanukkah. Okay. So you know the 8th of Hanukkah was basically the 8th of Hanukkah. But you were in doubtful, maybe really tomorrow's also the 8th of Hanukkah. Just like you were doubtful at the beginning about the 25th, you have to be doubtful about the end of Hanukkah as well. So which day are you going to choose to be Mako more than the other? You don't have any relevant criteria to pick which day is more of a suffix than the other day. So therefore, if you apply the rule of the suffix de Brun and the Kula, you'll be Mako with the 25th, the suffix 25th at the beginning of Hanukkah, and you'll be Mako with the end of Hanukkah too. And so you won't do either one of those 2 days. So then you really wind up with a holiday of 7 days, which is impossible.
Okay. Ve'i aslas besar vaihu lehakel ha ikras mitzvahs Purim v'yom echad shel Hanukah bodai. Bivadai, certainly. Okay, so and if you go with both of them to be lenient, this what's ikras?
You'll be okr, you'll uproot.
You'll uproot the mitzvah of Purim and 1 day of Hanukkah, certainly. you'll certainly uproot Purim completely and one of the days of Hanukkah completely.
Because
Kevan-
why? Because
What?
why? How's it gonna work? Let's take Purim as the example. Purim is supposed to be kept on Yud Daled, right? So you're sitting there on Yud Daled, right? You're wondering, is today Yud Daled or not? We don't know. It could be Yud Gimel. Well, we know Yud Gimel is not a time to do Purim, and it could be Yud Daled. So okay, subject to Rabban the Kula, right? So it's a waste of time to read the Megillah. It's a waste of wine to drink the wine, right? So you won't do Purim on the first day. Okay, the next day is now the next day comes. So yesterday wasn't Yud Daled. You said it was Yud Gimel, right? So today it's Yud Daled, right? So maybe yesterday was Yud Daled, and now today is really Tezvav, and Tezvav is not the day for Hanukkah either. So it's a waste of time to read the Megillah. It's a waste of wine to drink the wine. So therefore, because of the suffix derabbanan on both days you have the equal suffix Yud Daled and Tezvav. So therefore, suffix derabbanan will tell you not to do Purim at all. So that we will not say. That's impossible to entertain that idea. You don't say suffix derabbanan the kula when it's going to uproot the mitzvah you're in doubt about fulfilling. And by Hanukkah, you'll lose at least one day for sure. So therefore, we can't apply the general rule of suffix derabbanan the kula in this case.
The Kevan delo efshar ba'al korkach nizil b'tarvaihu leha chamir. And since that it's not possible that against his will, he will go with both of them to be strict.
Okay.
It's not possible that he will, against his will, would do both of them strictly.
Okay, it's a little bit of a hard sentence. We came in the lo efshar, and since that it's impossible to imply, but since it's impossible to apply the rule of suffix derabbanan the kula, bal korchach perforce nizul b'tzervayil the chacham. You have to go in both cases to be machmir. You have to be going machmir by Purim, and you have to be machmir in Hanukkah. To keep 2 days Purim and to keep 9 days Hanukkah.
I see. So there's like a semicolon after efshar.
Right. Came in the lo efshar, since it's impossible to apply the rule of suffix derabbanan the kula, bal korchach perforce you must nizu go, but travayu in both cases Purim and Hanukkah you must go strictly and treat each day each suffix equally, and therefore 9 days Purim and 2 days Purim, 9 days Hanukkah and 2 days Purim. Oh.
V'chein kasuv ham nachas
Minchas china.
haminchas chinuch, and similarly, it is written by the minchas chinuch shekevan she'anu misofrim. Since that it is rabbinic, im yom harishon eno Chanukah, if the first day is not Chanukah, oh yom Tishii, or the ninth day, v'im ne'amar safek derabbanan lekula, and if we say down at the rabbinical we are lenient, lo yiyeh Chanukah lo b'yom harishon v'lo b'yom hatishii. We won't do Hanukkah, not for the first day and not for the ninth day. Ki may chazis al korchach have le ikba isura because what is this? My chazis?
You know, why do you see fit? Why do you see fit?
Why do you see fit
Okay,
perforce that it should be ikba? What's ikba?
Ikbe Isur. This is referring to a situation where you have a situation of doubt, but it's a doubtful situation when you're starting from the status quo of something being forbidden already. And you want to determine if this thing is kosher, or if this act is permissible. But you know if the status quo is that it's forbidden. Meaning, for example, the person you find a person finds a piece of meat. Okay, he finds a piece of meat, right? So the status quo of any piece of meat that it came from a living animal, and for the meat to be kosher, it had to be shechted and prepared and then salted and all the other things that go into it in the proper way according to kashrus laws, right? So when you find a piece of meat, it's called ikmidi yisura, meaning it's already previously known to you that this piece of meat came from a situation where it was already previously usher. Now you want to change and permit that piece of meat, so you're going to have to bring definitive proof to prove that his status quo had been changed, right? So let's just review what he says here. Since that we are in doubt as to the first day, whether it's maybe not Hanukkah, or the 9th day, maybe it's not Hanukkah. And if you'll say that we should say Safek D'Rabbanan L'Kula, right? Hanukkah lo b'yom rishon v'lo yibom tishi. Hanukkah won't be either on the first day or on the 9th day, meaning you're only going to have, right, a limited amount of Hanukkah days, and it would be less than the prescribed ches. Kima chazis. Because what do you see fit here? Meaning, basically, how are you going to choose between these 2 days, right? It says because you have to have 8 days, right? You know you've got to have 8 days. And if you apply, just as we said before, if you apply the rule of Safek D'Rabbanan L'Kula, you'll have to apply it equally to Yom Rishon and the 9th day, right? So therefore, you're inevitably not going to have 8 days of Hanukkah, which is something which you know is definitely improper.
I don't get the word isur. What is it that it's referring to as we're assuming it's forbidden?
You're right. There's nothing really forbidden over here, but it's a borrowed phrase. Ikri surah basically it's a situation when you're unable to do anything because of the doubt, right? So it's just using that as a borrowed phrase to applies over here. Meaning both the suffix equally applies to the first day Hanukkah as it does to the 9th day, right? In both days you have an equal doubt, so you're stuck. Ikri Surah, you're stuck because you don't know and you can't choose of which of these 2 days has more validity in being the real day of Hanukkah. Well, the real day of Hanukkah is stand up. You don't know. You'll never know what the real day of Hanukkah is, right? So therefore, it may be that the first day is the real day of Hanukkah, or it may be the last day of Hanukkah. The 9th day of Hanukkah is the real day of Hanukkah. You can't determine that. It remains in its situation of doubt.
I see. V'avdinan l'chumra l'kan o l'kan.
That means on the first day and the 9th day. You have to go the chumrah on the first day of Hanukkah and on the 9th day of Hanukkah as well.
Okay, so So we would need, we would need to observe the first and the this one and this one. Yeah, straight. Okay, V'gam Cain meikara tiknas Chazal atzlam. Therefore, from initially, Chazal fixed it up for themselves.
Right. V'gam ki mikor tiknas Chazal etzlam, and also from the original inception of the institution of Chazal by them, right? I mean that was already that suffix didn't arise afterwards. That was a suffix which existed from the very beginning, meaning any place that would not know when the month was sanctified in Yerushalayim would have a doubt as to whether or not they have to keep 9 days of Hanukah or not. That was at the very beginning. That was at the very, very beginning when they first set up Hanukah, because it was the time when we had a base of Mikdash, and they were Makadosh the moon, the month, because of the reciting of the moon. And therefore it gave an honest doubt as to what day of the month the 25th of Kislev fell out. However, in our time.
Oh, you mean read on? Okay, I'm sorry. Ach ha'idna de anchanu anachnu v'ki'im v'os dircha. In our days, that we what's Beki'im?
Knowledgeable.
That we are knowledgeable.
In our days that we're knowledgeable, we're expert in the setting of the months. We know when the months will fall out. That's what we do every Shabbos Mevorachim, right? Shabbos Mevorachim, the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh, the Gabbai gets up and tells you exactly when the new moon is going to be. So we don't have any doubt. That's taking place throughout all of Klal Yisrael. Wherever any Jew is in the world, right, on Shabbos Mevorachim, the Gabbai gets up before Birkas HaChodesh, and he gives an announcement of exactly when the new moon is going to be. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
So therefore, in our time, how do we do things in our time?
Barak mishum minhag avosenu anu osim bet yamim misafek. And only because of the custom of our fathers do we make 2 days from a doubt.
So in our time, when we keep 2 days Pesach, 2 days Shavuos, 2 days Sukkot, we're doing it right because the minhag Avos saying we're just happening to keep our tradition from our forefathers.
Well, you just threw in Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. But you could throw in Hanukkah and Purim also.
No, so now we can apply. Now we can apply Suffolk Durban and the Kula.
Ba'al Derabanan lo chashasho kolkach.
Right.
And here with the rabbis, they were not so concerned.
Right.
Al kain anachnu osim rak shmona yamim Hanukah. Therefore, we make only 8 days of Hanukkah. Aval kishivna
Sheyabona.
aval kishiyabana beis hamikdash bimheira v'yamenu. But when the base of Mikdash will be built speedily in our days, v'nashuv likdash al pi ha-ria, and we return to the sanctification by way of citing as ha-rechokim bevadai Ya'asu Tish'a Yamim Hanukah. Then, what is this word? Ha-rechokim?
The distant communities.
Where the shluchim won't get to it. Any community where the shluchim would not be able to get because they're too far remote from the travel from Yerushalayim out to the outlying areas.
So when we return to the situation where the base of Mikdash has been rebuilt, then we'll return to citing. And then we will once again have the problem of places where they can't get to them fast enough.
Right, and then therefore in those places they definitely keep 9 days.
But we'll use modern technology and it won't be a problem again.
Oh, yeah. So
we have technical solutions that they'll be able to get the information well in time to not have to worry about 9 days of Hanukkah.
Yeah, right. That very true, very true. But the Minchas Chinuch was writing this before they had the internet. But
yeah.
When did the Minchas Chinuch live?
Minchas Chinuch, I'll tell you when it is.
Mid-40s?
Okay. Well, about not sure. But I can look it up. Once I'll look it up. Continue reading. I'll tell you in a moment.
Umi Stavar Shevizman Zeh Gam Mi Na'anas Velo Hadlik Bayom Hashmini. Okay, what is Mistaber?
It's logical.
And it's logical that today also Shaninas. What is Shaninas?
So a person's in
Shaninas makes a mistake.
Onus is not a mistake. Onus is a person he's in a situation beyond his control.
Right.
You know, I've never found a good word for onus in English. Reb Aaron, what would you? I think there's no good English for a situation beyond control because the Western mind doesn't think anything's beyond their control.
He was nichshal.
Right.
But how do you type
He was nichshal. That's the best thing.
Or how do you give it?
I didn't hear what Aaron said.
I said he should nichshal. He fell in, so to speak. He was. It's a hard word to explain. Nichshal is a Hebrew word.
Right.
I gave another Hebrew word.
Right. So Reb Aaron, I'm trying to explain it to you why we don't have a good English word for that, because the Western doesn't think anything's beyond their control. The Western mind can't comprehend of anything that's beyond their control.
Okay.
So therefore, you don't have a good English word for it. But okay, let's continue. Oh, so let me tell you the Minchas Chinuch, Rav Yosef Bar Moshe Badad. Badad, you might have heard of that name, Badad, before. He was born in 1801 in Galicia,
Okay,
about
Thank you.
220 years ago. Okay, sure.
okay, it's 9:55.
Yeah, let's just finish the law. Let's finish up so we can start something fresh tomorrow.
Okay, so it's logical that today, also, one who, for whom it is beyond his control, velo hadlik, and he can't light, bayom hash on the eighth day, kevan shechazal lo tiknu, since the sages did not make a decree, ein bezeh persum hanisa, there is not in this the publication of the miracle, im yidlik, by lighting bayom hatashi, by on the ninth day, ulechein im yadlik hare ze bal tashchis. Therefore, if he lights, it is a waste.
Right. There's no need, if a person therefore is in oinus and he doesn't know when Hanukkah is or when Hanukkah is going to end, so there's no point in him lighting an extra light extra on the ninth night as a suffix, and it's just a batashka, it's just a waste. So he doesn't have to do that. Okay, so there we have we came to the conclusion of this particular question. And hopefully I'll send something out during the course of today or tomorrow morning on something new and relevant. Hopefully, think to Hanukkah. We'll spend another week or two on relevant questions in Hanukkah. If anyone has any particular question they're intrigued by for Hanukkah, you could let me know. I'll see if there's anyone else is intrigued similarly as you. And we'll take a break now for a few minutes. Roy should have a good afternoon, and we'll start the shir, Mr. Brewer, in a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you,
Furst.
Rabbi.